Vaughn, pleasure to meet you.
Great, good to meet you, mate. How are you?
Good, very, very good. So I've seen your last three films. Two of my favorite filmmakers are Alfred Hitchcock and Brian De Palma. I really love how your psychological thrillers, essentially, each of these movies are different, but they really explore sometimes personal and generational trauma within the confines of that genre. Is that one of the reasons why you are a fan of this genre, that you can actually explore that sort of mental health and trauma space as well, I guess? Or am I overthinking things?
No, not at all. It's a really good question, and it's definitely something that draws me to genre films generally, and thrillers, psychological thrillers in particular. It's a heightened sandbox to play in, right? Like emotions are heightened, narrative is heightened. It gives you the opportunity to explore putting real people in unreal situations, which is really reductive, but you know what I mean. It gives you the opportunity within the thriller, within genre specific work, to sort of like really explore. Like you mentioned generational trauma. That's something I've explored before. In this case, like grief as trauma, and also secrecy, deceit, like dishonesty, what that does, how the negative spiral that creates in lives and in marriages, which is particularly prevalent in Cellar Door. And I mean, you mentioned De Palma and Hitchcock, like you're standing on the shoulders of giants there, but that is something that very much features in their works. That's kind of richly deep and in their canon.
Look, I just recently saw Every Breath You Take, and it has a completely different visual style from Cellar Door. Inheritance is its own visual style. When you're collaborating with DPs, you've used sometimes the same composer as well, editors and actors. What is the key to a successful collaboration, where you want to bring your vision out there, but you're working with so many people who have their own takes on the material?
What I really like to do is steal all their good ideas and pass them off as my own. That's what I'm building a career on. No, it's collaboration, it's teamwork. Making a film is the ultimate team sport, and you are surrounded as a director, surrounded by people, frankly, infinitely better at their job than you are, who are so their entire remit, the specificity of what they do, be it camera, production design, makeup, hair, costume, anything, like stunts, you name it. They're there to bring the best they can to elevate your vision. And I worked many years ago for an amazing director, Stephen Daldry, and my wife did as well, and he said the same thing to both of us at different times. He says it's all about the collage, right? It's all about cherry picking the pieces that best fit the collage. It's your job as the director to mold all of those disparate amazing ideas and sort of find the best way of servicing your vision. And that's always stuck with me. And I think for me, I love working with DPs that I have a shorthand with. Michael Merriman, my DP, who's one of my closest friends and a wonderful guy. He is an insanely brilliant DP, but he is so giving. He is there in service of story. He has no vanity when it comes to sort of composition, when it comes to how his camera grammar, all of that. It all comes in service to the story, and I like to think I'm the same. So the change in aesthetic styles that we've made, it's dependent on the film. It's how best we can service that story. Cellar Door has this sort of dark fairy tale element, this sort of folkloric quality, right? Like for me, it was kind of all about looking at that sort of at the edges of the Gothic, right? We talked about Edgar Allan Poe, we talked about Mary Shelley, we talked about early Hitchcock. Like there is the reclusive man in the haunted house on the hill to play with as a trope. So we lent into that. That was a big that was a big aesthetic inspiration for us. We wanted to embrace the house, whereas Every Breath was a much more that was much more of a true psychological thriller, and that we chose to tell in a very different way.
That said, you and your DP, you have the talent. With De Palma fans like me, all respect to that, but you could have added so many just sort of cheesy visual references because it's such a great location. But I think, and maybe I'm overthinking this as well, but when you have someone like Scott Speedman and Jordana Brewster, some of that visual stuff you don't need because they bring so much inner strength behind their acting that the visual stuff is actually secondary to what's going on in their respective worlds. Was that something that was that a reason why you cast them both in these roles? Because they're fantastic in them, and they're both very honest actors.
Yeah, you couldn't have put it better. Actually, they are completely honest. They are incredibly, I mean, they're wonderfully talented. They're world-class actors, both of them, but they're so giving. They're disciplined in the way they approach it. They're line perfect when they come to set. They love to rehearse. And to go back to the first part of the question, like you're absolutely spot on. Like when you have incredible performances to centralize on, when you can lock in close-ups and, you know, sort of delicate push-ins, and the way that we chose to cover them was a reflection of how brilliant their performances were. Like, they bounced off each other so well. They had this amazing chemistry kind of on and off screen, and, you know, it's we'd never wanted this to sort of stray into the melodramatic. That was very important to my cast and my crew. We wanted to make an elevated contemporary dark thriller, and having actors of that brilliance at the center of it, it means you can rely on what they can do with a little look or a you know, an aside, a moment where you linger with that character, and to have that as a director, and also to have the variation they gave me in the edit. Oh, it's a dream.
Cool. My final question to you is just a film recommendation right off the top. One of your all-time favorite films, and why is this movie specifically so personal to you? And thank you for your time.
Oh, not at all. Off the top of my head,
Yeah.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is one of the best films ever made. Brilliantly executed, brilliantly acted, stone cold excellent noir, genuinely brilliant LA noir at the same time.
Yeah.
Funny, scary, clever, charismatic. I absolutely love that film. It is objectively one of the best films ever made, and it's so much fun. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And by the way, before I go, I really think Every Breath You Take is so underrated, by the way. It's just really, it has some great stuff about approaching trauma, but then it has a genre-specific stuff. I think that's a really great work on you. Underrated, by the way, just FYI.
Oh, man, thank you so much. Thanks, Greg. That means the world. I really appreciate that, man.
I'll talk to you to the next one. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much, mate. Good to meet you.
Pleasure.